In my last video, I discussed all the extraordinary ways nature benefits our minds and bodies. And in this video, I will give you a room-by-room guide for how, where, and which type of plants to introduce in your home. Be aware that I'm an architect, not a florist, so I'll be addressing this topic from the perspective of space challenges, like lack of light, lack of space, but also how we want to feel the space, how plants can elevate the look of our spaces, and how they can contribute to aspects of our well-being, like better sleep. To help you deepen your understanding of the ideas I share today, make sure to check the description for the complimentary free worksheet and the subtitles for subtitles in your language. So let's get into it. The entryway. Entryways are generally some of the darkest rooms in your home. If your entryway doesn't get any natural light from anywhere, a living plant will not thrive there. So the recommendation is to start with plants that look good when they are dead, like decorative branches. A beautiful pot with a few branches on a console table and a mirror can create a beautiful atmosphere. The branches with no leaves provide a graphic aesthetic. Some plants have a very modular composition and have an artistic look to them. When the leaves are removed, they become intriguing elements in a space that otherwise doesn't give the eye a good reason to stop. Another element you can add to your entryway can be dried plants. The only downside I see to them is that they do gather a lot of dust, and when you try to clean them, they lose leaves and begin to crumble in places and stop looking so good. One alternative to this that I have seen is dried plants under a glass door. They do walk a fine line between design and kitsch, I have to say that, but some of them can look like works of art and can be very pretty and a natural piece of art to add to your entryway console table. If you have a bit of indirect light coming from adjacent rooms, you can grab a few branches from a garden and add them to your entryway. They add an overall fresh look and make the atmosphere very welcoming. Of course, potted plants would work well here too. Some plants like the ZZ plant, the cast iron plant, the philodendron, and the peace lily are quite sturdy despite the low light and can be a nice addition to your entryway. In conclusion, despite limited natural light, you can still enhance the entryways and the corridors by incorporating natural elements. Using hardy plants like the ZZ plant, the artistic alternatives like modular branches, fresh branches, or dried arrangements add warmth and character to your home. The bathroom. If your bathroom doesn't have any windows or source of natural light during the day, natural plants are probably not for you. The possibilities begin to expand when you have a little bit of natural light, even if it's not a lot, perhaps coming from a window facing an adjacent courtyard. In those cases, finding those low-light, high-humidity-loving plants is key. For example, the English ivy houseplant absorbs moisture from the air to eliminate dampness and excessive humidity throughout the day and can remove up to 78% of the airborne moles. The fern family is also a good addition. The rabbit foot fern, the blue star fern, and the kangaroo fern are very good examples. It really depends on where you are in the world and what's available in your area. Ferns seem to be very tolerant to low light and they love ample humidity. Particularly the kangaroo fern is also non-toxic to pets. If your bathroom has plenty of light but not enough space, you can attach some of the plants to the ceiling or a ladder, like in this case. If you have a generous sink area, adding a plant to the side of it can add more softness to an otherwise very edgy room. If potted plants are not for you, a couple of branches in a vase can also be a very nice addition. A little bit of natural greenery in the bathroom can make it feel less like a functional space and more like a relaxing environment for self-care. In conclusion, while bathrooms often present challenges such as low light and high humidity, these conditions can be skillfully managed with the right plant choices. Plants like the English ivy and the various ferns thrive under such conditions, not only enhancing the aesthetic of your bathroom, but also improving air quality by reducing mold and mildew. Integrating plants in your bathroom can transform it from a purely functional area into a beautiful retreat, conducive of relaxation and self-care. The kitchen. Herb gardens are the most desirable greenery for the kitchen, but kitchens can also be dark spaces, often facing small indoor courtyards. Mint, parsley, and chives can grow in low light conditions, but many other herbs like generous light. If you want to expand the herb palette in your kitchen despite not having enough light, you might consider using grow lights. A grow light is an artificial light that helps stimulate photosynthesis when natural light is not an option. Some energy-saving grow lights are LED lights, which you can place on a timer that can mimic natural light. Setting the lights to be on for about 12 to 16 hours a day and off for about 8 to 12 hours mimics the natural cycle of day and night. This setup supports healthy plant growth and doesn't require manual intervention every day. However, if you're blessed with adequate light in the kitchen, the variety and locations of plants expand exponentially. The natural place to add plants in the kitchen is close to the window, but that is a prime location because we also like to be by the window, and we would also like our favorite utensils to be there. So the window area can become very crowded very quickly. What might be useful to you in these situations are smart ways to allow for plants to be by the window without taking away any of the countertop surface. One way to do that is to add suspended shelves, ideally those that are above or below the eye level, to allow for views to nature. If that's not an option due to how the window opens, attaching planters to the side of the windows can also allow for plants to have plenty of light without occupying too much space in the window. Another great place for plants is over the kitchen cabinets. Kitchen cabinets usually create a gap between the cabinets and the ceiling, and that is a space that is usually not very well used and can be a great spot for larger plants that don't need frequent watering. You can also place plants on open shelves with small potted plants of fresh herbs. Open shelving with a mix of decorative items and plants can add warmth and friendliness to the kitchen space, especially if it's an open kitchen. The plant pots also matter, and using decorative pots to match the kitchen decor can make the space look more cohesive and beautiful. Plants can also mark a barrier between the kitchen and the living space. They are that element that says, here's where the living space stops and the kitchen begins. Plants can also help enhance the importance of various standalone elements in the room, like the dining table or the kitchen island. They attract the eye, increasing its beauty and presence in the room. In conclusion, enhancing your kitchen with plants can significantly improve both its functionality and aesthetics. Utilizing grow lights for broader herb selection or arranging plants strategically around the kitchen not only optimizes the space but also brings vitality and a sense of nature into an otherwise utilitarian area. The living room. Because the living room has a lot more space and light than other rooms in the house, any plants will make the space look cozy and friendly. And plants have this special quality to them that they can sit comfortably in the background, creating a kind of green stage design for the other elements in the room, or they can be the prima donna of your home stage. They can catch the eye, make statements, and start a conversation. The only place in the house where plants can be in the foreground is the living room. Because this space is also a place for family and friends to meet, you might want to focus on plants that make this room more decorative and visually appealing. So here are some ideas along these lines. The first idea, and this is one of my personal favorites, is a beautiful bouquet of fresh cut flowers. They work particularly well in the center of the room or the center of the table because they can capture attention so well as you enter into the room. If you want to make a small bouquet of flowers look bigger, you might add it to a collection of little vases, each containing little flowers. This can have a festive appeal, especially during big family gatherings, and they can be placed on a brunch table or a side table in the living room. Some people might say that fresh-cut flowers aren't worth having because they will die anyway in a week, or perhaps even sooner. And if you like the permanence of plastic flowers, you do you. There's no judgment here. But personally, I like natural flowers because they are impermanent. If the flowers are made of plastic, I would probably not look at them because I know they will look the same tomorrow. But because real flowers have such a short lifespan, I look at them more often. I cherish the moments we have together. Their shades of colors are a little different every day. Their slow wilting is like a visual clock, reminding me that time is passing, and everything eventually dies. So there's also a philosophical meaning about the fleeting of life that I personally enjoy about natural flowers. Fresh-cut flowers also have the benefit that they allow you to add more color to your room, at least temporarily. We've all become a little bit afraid of color in our spaces, a little chromophobe, and I think colorful flowers are a great way to mitigate our fears and provide a temporary burst of color that can lift our mood and make us happier when we enter a room. Another plant category that looks good in the living room is internal trees or tall plants. If you have a spacious living room with tall ceilings, but even if the ceiling is not that high, potted trees can catch the eye as you enter into a room, and they're incredibly beautiful to look at. They are great conversation starters and can really wow your guests. Finally, I want to talk about ikebana, the Japanese art of arranging flowers. Often the ikebana flower arrangements do not contain many flowers, but they're usually cut and arranged in such a way that makes a display incredibly graphical and beautiful to look at. This art form uses carefully selected blossoms, greenery, and other flora to convey a specific feeling or emotion for an observer, just like a painting or a sculpture might. I've always been fascinated with this Japanese art form, which has luckily spread to the West, where many people practice it as a hobby. Spring arrangements with branches of cherry flowers in bloom or autumn branches with colorful leaves can really make a corner of a room look more like an art and elevate the aesthetic of the space. In conclusion, the living room, with its ample space and light, offers the perfect setting for plants to flourish and transform the ambiance, whether serving as a subtle background element or a striking focal point. Plants add warmth, style, and dynamic presence to this central gathering space. The bedroom. Technically, you can use any plants you want in the bedroom because this room generally gets more natural light than other rooms in the house, but you might want to consider plants that contribute to the quality of your sleep. The first category of bedroom plants is plants that clean the air. Theoretically, all of them do, but some of them do a better job than others. Plants you might want to consider are the peace lily, the philodendron, the ficus, or the gerbera daisies. Because the brain perceives sharp edges as dangerous, and this is science, not feng shui by the way, I would encourage you not to add any plants with pointy, sharp-looking leaves despite their extraordinary air-cleaning properties. The next category you might want to consider are aromatic plants. Lavender, for example, can infuse the air with a pleasant natural scent that helps you sleep. Finally, you might want to introduce water and its calming effect on our minds, helping us wind down before sleep. Indoor water gardens have become very popular. Aquariums, with or without fish, are also really beautiful to look at. The gentle swaying of the plants and the fish helps us slow down our breathing and gets us ready for bed. Terrariums can also be a fascinating and beautiful addition to a cabinet or a side table. They're just like aquariums in glass, but without the water. Like ikebana, they're also a hobby art form of creating beautiful compositions with nature. You can create a tiny desert or a miniature rainforest to calm your mind before going to bed. In conclusion, integrating plants in your home is not just about beautifying your space. It's about enhancing your well-being and creating a sanctuary where you can thrive. Selecting plants for your home involves understanding the plants and their needs and yourself and your needs. All these aspects will play a role in identifying exactly which plants will best fit your home. For those of you who are eager to dive even deeper into the world of indoor greenery, I have something special for you. Besides my class, Decorating with Plants for Beginners, you might be interested in the free quiz I left in the description. It's designed to help you pinpoint exactly which plants will thrive in your home, suit your lifestyle, and complement your design aesthetic. Click the link in the description and let's get started. And if you like the permanence of plastic flowers, you do you. There's no judgment here. maybe just a little bit.